Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you part one of a two-part replay between Odin and Happy here on Twisted Meadows. Here we have Odin spawning at the what I'll call the 11 o'clock position as the light blue orc player, getting an early altar of storms. Meanwhile, we have Happy spawning as the undead player here, going graveyard and crypt. So we are gonna see early fiends coming out from Happy. Not too big of a surprise, as fiends are a pretty good opening for the undead player. Now, depending on when this altar comes out, we will know if it's going to be, yeah, it is an earlier altar, so it's most likely going to be a Death Knight. No Tavern Hero. We do have an Altar of Storms currently being built as well. Orc Burrow coming up as well. The Altar of Storms will either be a Farseer or a Blade Master. I'm not quite sure. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of Farseer coming in, especially on Twisted Meadows recently, but maybe against an undead player he will try to go Blade Master as opposed to a Farseer. So let's see what it is. Waiting for that Orc Burrow, and we do have a Blade Master. So Blade Master coming in from Odin. Happy, most likely going to be getting a Death Knight, already producing additional ghouls, and then we'll be producing fiends in just a moment. Now we do have an early scouting peon coming in from Odin. Odin is now scouting south, trying to see, what Happy is going. He's going to see fiends, and pretty much, that's a pretty standard build. We do have a Tome of Relics going down, so we are going to have a Rod of Necromancy for those early skeletons coming into play. And waiting for Happy's Ziggurat to be completed to see what hero it's going to be, and it is going to be a Death Knight, so nothing too out of the ordinary. Now the Blade Master will be able to come out around the 2-minute mark, and the Death Knight should probably come out, I think, at the 2-minute 30-second mark, or 2-minute 45-second mark. So it is going to be a little bit delayed, but we do have Ziggurats now currently being built in order to try to protect the acolytes as they are mining. We do have a voodoo lounge being built in the middle of the map, kind of like a proxy voodoo lounge, in order to get more items quickly and not always having to run back to the base. We'll see how that plays out for him. There's no fiends to really stop that build right now, so it is going to be a pretty effective strategy. The first fiend is now coming out from Happy, so I spoke too soon, and Happy is going to come across this voodoo lounge, perhaps try to focus it down a little bit, do a little bit additional damage, or perhaps try to do a kill steal off of the Overseer now, or even just do additional damage on the Blade Master. Blade Master is down to 163 hit points already and is forced to run to the back right now, try at least getting that Null Overseer off of him. But the Null Overseer should fall down, and the Death Knight is now coming out with two skeletal minions coming out. So the Death Knight is able to get off an early Death Coil. That could spell doom right now. We do have the Farseer now trying to do some additional damage. Well, we're going to get a Death Coil. Oh, misses the Death Coil. Perfect time for a Windwalk, and the Grunt is now going to try to run to the back right now. Death Knight now going to take out this Voodoo Lounge. That Voodoo Lounge does not pay off for Odin. Odin does get the early healing salves, but unfortunately is going to lose his Voodoo Lounge. So those healing salves are going to be relatively expensive, as he's going to need to replace that Voodoo Lounge in just a moment. Looking at the tech, we already have Odin teching the tier 2, going to Stronghold already, and we have Happy doing an early tech as well. So both players teching relatively early with relatively small armies, 26 over 30. Meanwhile, Happy's at 22 over 30 and not producing any additional units at this time. So getting an additional Ziggurat, even though he is not supply locked. We have the Farseer picking up, or sorry, not the Farseer, the Blade Master picking up a Boots of Speed and a Circlet of Nobility, as well as the Demon or the Death Knight is going to finish off this particular creep camp, trying to take out those Null Wardens. And the Blade Master is going to do all that annoying hero harass and perhaps get that last kill. Gets that last kill, gets some additional damage on that Death Knight. Death Knight is looked like he was purged, but I'm not sure by what. He had that little lightning, but there's nothing in the map that can purge. No orb of lightning, of course, so not quite sure what's happening over there. Meanwhile, the Blade Master's grunts are trying to finish off that Null Overseer. Death Knight really wants to make sure that he gets that last kill. He does not want to give that additional experience for free to Odin. Odin's Blade Master trying to just do additional damage and the fiends are just avoiding the blade of the Blade Master, trying to run away right now. Additional fiends just getting focused down, and that Blade Master just right-clicking on those units, doing so much damage. Happy doing a good job of getting those units onto the crypt or onto the blight in order to regenerate more hit points, and the Null Overseer down to 5 hit points will go down, picks up a Claws of Attack +6. So this game is currently going very well for Odin, even after that early fiasco of losing that Voodoo Lounge. and the Halls of the Dead nearing completion, so we should be seeing statues and a Lich coming in relatively soon from Happy. Meanwhile, Odin should probably pick up a Shadow Hunter and then get was it a Bestiary followed by a Spirit Lodge. So pretty standard play coming in from here. This is all going to be determined by micro at this point. Units coming in. Blade Master able to just in time to heal that low hit point Fiend, trying to get him to run away. I do not know if Burrow is being researched at this time. Halls of the Dead still not being done, so it should be researched relatively shortly. And the Fiend is just trying to run away right now. Death Knight trying to do some additional damage. The Blade Master does have enough for a Windwalk. Should be trying to Windwalk in just a moment. Uses a Dust of Appearance and it gets a Death Coil off and gets level 2 on the Death Knight and gets a level 2 Blade Master. Oh, very nice play coming in from Happy, and now the game swings very, very drastically over in favor of Happy by losing that level 2 Death Knight. We do have, or Blade Master. Blade Master is resurrected quickly, but is still relatively low on hit points. Death Knight is currently sitting at level 2 as well, but we may have the Blade Master come in. Blade Master thought he was going to try to go for an expansion, now has to head back to the north, and Happy's Crypt Fiend is getting focused down quickly, gets a quick Death Coil in order to try to get healed right now, and the healing is interrupted on that Blade Master. Blade Master trying to Blade Master trying to chase after that Death Knight. Death Knight down to 185 hit points, trying to run away. Will get one Fiend, I believe. Will he be able to get two Fiends? Not quite sure. Trying to turn around that Death Fiend. Oh, and that Blade Master decides not to commit, as there is a Nerubian Tower in play, and that Nerubian Tower would just wreak havoc. And we have the Odin picking up Scourge Bone Chimes. So wow, what great item pickup for the Blade Master. Oh, Blade Master, Odin picking up an additional Tauren Chieftain instead of an early Shadow Hunter. Most likely going to tech Stomp instead of Shockwave at this point, as we have seen Chainwave in some earlier matches. But without the Farseer, there's obviously no Chain Lightning. Meanwhile, back over here at the main base of Happy, Happy is currently getting his Lich. Lich should be popping out within the next 30 seconds or so, and upgrading the Black Citadel as well, and getting statues. So the Happy army is going to be very happy with that healing and mana regeneration. Blade Master trying to make sure that there is no additional expansions coming out, and the Tauren Chieftain desperately wants to get to level 2. With that Endurance or with that Vampiric Aura, should be able to creep relatively without issue right now. Death Knight should get to level 3 off of this particular creep camp. Does not have any Clarity Potions. Really should be getting Clarity Potions at this point, as it is relatively low on mana, but we do have statues now coming into play, and a Ziggurat being summoned as Happy is now supply locked. Gonna go ahead and surround that last Rock Golem. Death Knight sitting at level 3. Gonna take that down, make sure that does a quick reveal to make sure that there is no nearby Blade Master. Tauren Chieftain now sitting at level 2 is gonna go ahead and creep out this creep camp to the north. He does have did tech Stomp, so Stomps 2 units and will quickly take them down. Blade Master seems to be just running around the map, not quite sure what he's going for. Doesn't have a real strategy, just trying to make sure that there is no real harassment coming into play, trying to keep tabs on the army of the undead player. We do have an Orb of Corruption on the Death Knight. A little bit odd, should be transferred to the Lich, most likely, as you want to give range, yes, and it's transferred to the Lich. The Blade Master now checking that, making sure that there is no expansion attempt coming in, and the Blade Master now heads to the north and is going to run across the main army. So we do have a great haul being produced by Odin, and Odin is setting up his own expansion, and we have skeletal minions now coming out harassing the main base. Death Knight not quite sure what he's waiting for right now. It gets a quick hit on the Blade Master gets a quick hit on the Death Knight, and the Death Knight is the Blade Master is forced to run away. And there's my timer going off. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Happy and Odin here on Twisted Meadows.
Forces are under attack.